الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. قال الله تعالى في كتابه الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم: وأنكحوا الأيام منكم والصالحين من عبادكم وإمائكم إن يكونوا فقراء يغنهم الله من فضله والله واسع عليم. These past few days and in the coming week is the anniversary of the martyrdom of the Lady of Light, Fatima al-Zahra, salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayha. And of course, there was one narration which we commemorated last week, and that is that she passed away 75 days after the Prophet. And inshallah, next week, next Thursday, even though it will be a few days before the martyrdom of Lady Fatima, according to the narration, that she passed away 90 days after Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. So, there are many lessons that we learn from the life of Fatima al-Zahra alayhi salam. There's the lesson of jihad, speaking out against injustice. She was not limited, she was not confined. She spoke out against the injustice of her time. This is one lesson. Another is the spirituality and the ibadah of Fatima al-Zahra alayhi salam. And a third, and a perhaps very important lesson from the life of Fatima al-Zahra and from the lives of many of those who are mentioned in the Quran, from the prophets, from the imams, from the awliya, is family relationships. The Quran focuses on family. And there are certain families that are chosen by Allah. They're purified by God. And they're purified by God. One reason why they are chosen is because of how they were with one another. What kind of a husband was he? What kind of a wife she was? What kind of a daughter was she? What kind of a person in a family were they? And Allah talks about certain families. إِنَّ اللَّهَ اصْطَفَى آدَمَ وَنُوحًا وَآلَ إِبْرَاهِيمَ وَآلَ عِمْرَانَ عَلَى الْعَالَمِينَ ذرية بعضها من بعض والله سميع عليم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says these are certain families that were chosen. And when we look at the life of Fatima al-Zahra alayhi salam, we see that she was unique, she was special in the roles that she took, which were not really extraordinary. Today some people, they say, I could become very special. I could become someone who's very special. Everyone will know me. Make me president and everyone will recognize me. Give me this much money and people will recognize me. I will give charity. I will do good. I will do all of this. Fatima al-Zahra alayhi salam, she became special with the ordinary role that she had. She was a daughter, but she became the best daughter. She was a wife. She became the best wife. She was a mother. She became the best mother. So, this is a lesson for us that we should not expect to have unusual circumstances so that we can maybe do something good in our life. No, do good in your life where in the circumstances that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put you. Some people say, if I have money, I will do this. Do the good with whatever you have. If you're in a relationship, you're in a difficult relationship, your marriage is tested, whatever it is, try to be the best person you could be in the circumstances that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put you in. Now, when it comes to family, of course, to build a family, you have to get married. And marriage is an issue, and it's an issue that is on the mind of many people. Those who are married, marriage is on their mind because their anniversary is coming up. Maybe they forgot about it. Maybe they're afraid they might forget about it. What will happen if they forget? Or maybe they want to get their kids married. That's on their mind. And the major issue is for those who are not married. Marriage is on their mind. A lot of youth, they're thinking, when should I get married? Can I afford marriage? How could I stick to one person? How do I know which qualities to pick, which qualities to choose in a spouse? These are all questions that people have in mind, and these are valid questions. These are very valid, very okay questions to ask. No one should come and say this is a wrong question, because at the end of the day, going into the marriage, this is one of the most important and perhaps the most important decision you will make in your life. If it goes well, if it's successful, then you will have happiness and you'll have satisfaction and you'll be okay for the rest of your life. And if it does not go well, then you will live with the regrets, with the pain, with the anxiety, and perhaps the marriage might fall apart. So these are very serious issues that need to be addressed and need to be asked. And while we are remembering Fatima al-Zahra alayhi salam, let us try to be inspired from her life. Let us try to be inspired from the decisions that she made or the circumstances that she was in, and we could see how we could make better decisions in our lives. So one question that a lot of the youth, a lot of people have in mind is, when is the best time to get married? When should I get married? Some people, right now especially, they come and they say, let me build my career. Let me get a job. Let me get the house. Let me get the car. Let me put everything first. And then once I'm done, then I will get married. I'll check it off of the bucket list of things to do in my life before I die. This is one group, this is one ideology, this is one perspective that I see a lot of people have when it comes to marriage. Career comes before, career building comes before family building. Getting the education comes before. And then there's another perspective that regards marriage not as a goal that I'm going to just check it off, but it regards marriage as a necessary tool, as a necessary pathway that will help protect me in my later on decisions in life. And this is the Islamic perspective. Islam doesn't say get married because that's the goal of every person. Islam says go and protect yourself. Islam says give yourself that immunity that you need, because when you get married, that's exactly what it will do. So there is no specific timeline as to when you get married. It's not wajib on you to get married at a specific age, at a specific time. But from an Islamic perspective, marriage is encouraged. Why? It's encouraged because it's a form of protection. It's the immunity shot. It helps protect the person. So this is why it is considered to be something that is recommended from an Islamic perspective. And this is for both men and women. Both men and women, marriage is recommended. There's a hadith Qudsi. Hadith Qudsi means this is a hadith from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A hadith Qudsi, the hadith says that a person who's unmarried, and this is of course talking about a female, but this applies to men and women. A person who's not married is like a fruit that is ripe on the tree. A fruit that is ripe on the tree, if this fruit stays on the tree and it's not picked, what's going to happen to that fruit? Over time, the elements, the sun, the wind, and the elements are going to impact that fruit, and the fruit is going to go bad. That fruit that was perfectly okay. That fruit that was perfectly fine. There was nothing wrong with it. That fruit remains on the tree and it ends up going bad. This is exactly what the Hadith Qudsi says. It says that when a person who's at the age and the circumstances of marriage are ready. Now some people might say, the circumstances are not ready for me. Then this is no pressure. But if the time is right, meaning you're physically ready, you're economically, you're socially ready, you're mentally ready, then you should not delay it, and it should not be delayed. And this is why we see that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi, when he would see people, he would right away If he sees a young person, he would ask this person, do you have a job? And second, are you married? He would ask them this question. Why? And if this person wasn't married, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa would support this person in getting married. Because it's a form of immunity, it's a form of protection, and it is something that will help you get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It will be something that will help you concentrate. It will be something that will help you reach your highest potential in life. Now some people, they'll come and they'll say, Sayyid, you're talking about marriage, but right now I'm not at the age of marriage. Right now, the circumstances don't allow it. Financially, I'm in the middle of school. I'm going to jeopardize my life. I'm going to jeopardize my career. I'm going to throw everything away if I do get married. This is perfectly okay. A lot of people have these circumstances in their lives. So what should a person do in this state? Allah says in the Quran, وَلْيَسْتَعْفِفِ الَّذِينَ لَا يَجِدُونَ نِكَاحًا حَتَّى يُغْنِيَهُمُ اللَّهُ مِنْ فَضْلِهِ. The same verse, وَأَنْكِحُوا الْأَيَامَ مِنْكُمْ وَالصَّالِحِينَ مِنْ عِبَادِكُمْ وَإِمَائِكُمْ إِنْ يَكُونُوا فُقَرَاءَ يُغْنِيهُمْ. The verse ordering people to get married, and then it says those who cannot, they should put themselves on the pathway to marriage. Pathway in terms of modesty, in terms of chastity. This is a struggle that a lot of people have. Maybe they might fall in the haram. So in order to stop yourself, that means you have to put a perimeter around the haram so that you do not ignite that desire that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created every single person with. And put yourself on the mindset of someone who's about to get married or ready to get married. And this is very important. Maybe say you can't get married for a year, for 2 years. Okay, live your life as if you're preparing and you're planning to get married. Now, you're going to notice that your life is very different when you don't have that in mind. Now, when you're spending your money, you're going to be much more careful in how you spend your money and in where you spend your money. Because now you're planning to get married rather than someone who marriage is not even on their mind. Now when you're associating with friends, you're going to be much more careful who you associate with, who you spend time with. Now when you are getting to know someone, there's a lot of people, they're getting to know, boys getting to know girls, girls getting to know boys. When they're not taking marriage seriously, they're going to be playing around. They're going to be just wanting to have fun. But when you are seriously thinking and considering marriage, now your relationship and your perspective is going to be very different. Now you're going to be asking real hard questions. You're going to ask yourself, is this person suitable for me or is this person not suitable for me? These are all questions that a person who has the mindset of marriage, they would ask, as opposed to someone who's not even thinking about it. Someone who's going to say, oh, in 10 years I'm going to get married. I'm going to think about it in 10 years. Then they're going to be playing around. Then they're going to be wasting their time and wasting their money and wasting everything that they have. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَأَنْكِحُوا الْأَيَامَ مِنْكُمْ وَالصَّالِحِينَ مِنْ عِبَادِكُمْ وَإِمَائِكُمْ إِنْ يَكُونُوا فُقَرَاءَ يُغْنِهُمُ اللَّهُ مِنْ فَضْلِهِ. Allah tells people, if there's someone who you are able to financially support, maybe you have a servant, maybe you have someone who is under your watch. Allah says, وَأَنْكِحُوا الْأَيَامَ مِنْكُمْ. Help them get married. Support them in getting married. And then Allah says, إِنْ يَكُونُوا فُقَرَاء يُغْنِهُمُ اللَّهُ مِنْ فَضْلِهِ. If they're poor, Allah is going to make them rich. Allah is going to make them wealthy. Now someone might ask, how do you get wealthy? Suddenly you go and you say, I do, and then you get wealthy? You see your bank account, it has money in it? Is that how things work? Perhaps. Allah says in the Quran, get married and I will give you rizq. But there's another way to explain this. And this is, there's the hadith, the Quran says, إِن يَكُونُوا فُقَرَاءَ يُغْنِهُمُ اللَّهُ مِنْ فَضْلِهِ. I've heard some scholars, they give this interpretation of this verse. And this is what we said. When you put yourself in the mindset of marriage, mindset of building a family, you're prioritizing family, you're prioritizing establishing yourself, now you're going to be much more careful in the way you spend your money. And when you're more careful in the way you spend your money, what's going to happen to your money? It's going to be more. It's going to increase. إِنْ يَكُونُوا فُقَرَاءَ يُغْنِهُمُ اللَّهُ مِنْ فَضْلِهِ. This is how it works. When you put yourself in the mindset of saving your money is going to be saved. And now you're going to be building a family. So this is one issue. Another question that a lot of people have, which continuing what we were saying, is what if I'm not financially ready? Of course, this is a question that a lot of the brothers, they mention and they bring up right away. Even though right now, we see in many of the marriages that we're seeing right now, the wife is giving just as much and the wife is contributing just as much, or maybe a little bit more, a little bit less for the family. So this is a question that both men and women are asking right now. Where am I going to get the money? How am I going to get married? Right now, marriage is very expensive. And this is true. Marriage is very expensive. And this is because society and our norms, we have raised the expectations to please the guests, to please those guests that you don't even see the whole year, but they come in one day in your life, they come and they show up in the wedding, and you have to have all these flowers and all of these dresses and all of these things that probably, if you really ask the husband and the wife, is this really going to make your life much different? Not so much. But it's done to please other people. And this is one of the, how society and the way, when we're always concerned with pleasing society, we end up ignoring ourselves. And we end up maybe falling in the haram where we are going against the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But I want to bring us to the house of Fatima alayhi salam, the house of Amir al-Mu'mineen and Fatima al-Zahra. Perhaps one of the most beautiful lessons that we learn from Fatima al-Zahra alayhi salam is the simplicity in their life that they had. Fatima al-Zahra was the daughter of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa. Amir al-Mu'mineen is marrying Fatima, but you go and you look at a snapshot view of the house of Fatima, the furniture of Fatima, how they furnished the home of Fatima al-Zahra, and you see that it was a very simple home, very simple furniture. However, it was that home that brought happiness to Rasulullah, that brought happiness to Amir al-Mu'mineen. It was the home of love. Because a lot of people today, we fool ourselves. We think that we could buy love. We think that we could spend our way into making our relationship look healthier, look nicer. This is why a lot of people, you see their Instagram marriages. On the picture, it looks very nice. I'm on the beach with my wife, and let the whole world see me, how happy we look with the family, with the kids. And then you go and you look inside the house, you see everything is falling apart. You see there is no love, there is no compassion, there is no respect. Because we're more concerned with what other people think about our marriage rather than what we are supposed to be contributing towards the family. Fatima al-Zahra alayhi salam and Amir al-Mu'mineen, they put God first, and then they put their family, and then others. So, Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib, what was the mahar of Fatima al-Zahra? What was the dowry? Today, one of the biggest obstacles when it comes to marriage is this mahar. Mahar is supposed to be something symbolic that the husband is giving for the wife, as a gesture that the husband is the breadwinner and the caretaker of the family. But today this has become a tool to delay the marriage or to show prestige. I'm from this family, therefore I ask this much, or I'm going to give this much. And this becomes something that ends up becoming an obstacle towards building a healthy relationship. The mahar of Amir al-Mu'mineen, the mahar of Fatima al-Zahra was the armor. The armor. Amir al-Mu'mineen comes to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa. Of course, many other men, many other wealthy men, they had come and they had proposed to marry Fatima, Rasulullah would tell them no. Of course, he would let her know, and then he would let her know, and he would see that she was not happy, and then he would tell them no. Then Amir al-Mu'mineen comes, and then Rasulullah tells him, what do you have, O Ali? What do you have to give as the mahar? Amir al-Mu'mineen says, I own 3 things. Amir al-Mu'mineen had migrated. He left Mecca. He left everything that he had. He came with Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa. He says, I have a sword. And I have a nadih. Nadih was a mule or an animal that he would use to pull water. Amir al-Mu'mineen used to work. Amir al-Mu'mineen, he used to go and work, and he used to dig wells, and he used to plant trees, and he used to carry that heavy water out of the well. So he was a hard worker. He says, I have a nadih, and third, I have an armor, a dira, an armor. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa tells him, as for your nadih, you need it because you have to work. And as for your sword, the religion of Islam is in need of your sword, O Ali. As for the armor, sell it, Allah will protect you. Amir al-Mu'mineen sold his armor, and Fatima al-Zahra became his defender. When the Khilafah was taken away from him, Fatima al-Zahra became the defender of Ali ibn Abi Talib. This is why her life was taken away from her. He goes and he sells the armor for 480 or 500 dirhams. And that was divided. Parts of it was divided on the wedding, on furnishing the home, and spending on the needs and the necessities of the marriage of Imam Ali and Fatima. Look at the mindset that they had. Amir al-Mu'mineen didn't say, oh, I need more, what is this? You're asking me to sell. Amir al-Mu'mineen, he went and he listened to Rasulullah because he has faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And similarly, Fatima al-Zahra, on the day of her wedding, she gives her own dress away. She gives it away in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this shows you that when you have a simple marriage, when you don't fall in the materialistic trap, the trap of this material lifestyle, then you can reach that love and that compassion that everyone dreams of having. Another very important question, a hard question that a lot of people have. We answered when, and we answered what if I don't have the money. Another very important question, and perhaps this is the most difficult one, is who should I marry? Who should I marry? What qualities should I prioritize? Of course, you have different cultures. They have different views on who makes this choice. You have, for example, some cultures, the parents, they come and they tell their daughter, you're marrying fulan. That's it. It's written in the book. It's written in pen. You can't change it at all. They tell the husband, you're married. They tell the boy, the guy, you're marrying such and such. And he has no say in that. And then you have another extreme where some, they go and they make the decision on their own without advice, without having their parents be involved, without going and doing some hard thinking. Oh, I fell in love. They fall in love and they think they fell in love, and they go and they make this decision, and then you see a few weeks later, this whole thing falls apart. When it comes to marriage, first of all, who makes the choice? Of course, the person, the people getting married, the boy and the girl, the young man and the lady, they are the ones who make this choice. No one could come and make this choice on your behalf. A man comes to Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. He tells him, my parents, they want me to marry such and such girl, the neighbor's daughter, They want me to marry her. And I want to marry someone else. Who should I marry? Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, he tells him, تزوج الذي هويت ودع التي هوى أبواك. Marry the one you want to marry and leave the one that your parents are telling you to marry. Now, this means that the ultimate decision should be upon the ones who are getting married. This is the person you're going to be living with, not them. But does this mean that we should ignore the advice and the suggestion and the admonishment of wiser, more intelligent, more experienced parents? No. Of course, we have to go and seek advice. We have to go and turn to those who have more knowledge, more experience, and those who love us and truly care for us. And you're not going to find someone that loves you and cares for you more than your parents. So this is why, listen to them. Listen to their advice. Yes, sometimes there are some parents, they're stubborn. They just have something in mind which is not logical, which is not religious, which goes against reason. This is a special case. Sometimes, yes, you're not required to follow what they're saying, as long as you're not angering them in a way where you're going to become aqil walidain. Because it's haram to anger the parents in a way where they become truly angry, where this becomes aq. But sometimes they might say, you know what, I was giving you advice. You go and do whatever you want. I'm not going to be angry at you. Then that's not haram in that case. So here, marriage is a personal choice. But what should a person look for? This is a very important issue today. A lot of people, we live in a world where beauty and appearances, they outweigh the internal beauty, the real beauty. A lot of people fall for the external appearance. Say a girl, for example, she's a model. She is very beautiful. And this is the first thing that a lot of guys look at. This is the first thing that a lot of guys think of. Or, for example, a guy has certain qualities that stand out. That is what many people in society focus on, the appearances. Now, appearances are important. No one is telling you to marry someone who, for example, when you wake up, you're going to get scared or something. And this goes for both ways, boys and girls, men and women. But the thing is, this is a decision that you're going to be making that you have to really consider. What are the qualities? What are the things that I want to truly look for? Of course, it's a free choice. You could marry whoever you want. However, if you want the Islamic advice, there are two very important qualities to look for. And that is faith and akhlaq. Faith and good manners. We see multiple hadith, multiple narrations that focus on these two qualities. It doesn't say the one who drives the nicest car, the one who is the most beautiful girl in town, the one who is born from this family or born from that family, or the one who has this job or that job. No. What to look for? إِذَا جَاءَكُم مَّن تَرْضَوْنَ دِينَهُ وَخُلُقَهُ. If someone comes and proposes to a girl, and you see that this person has deen, has faith, what does that mean? That means this person is afraid of God. That means that this person knows halal from haram. That means that this person, even if he had a problem with you, he's not going to oppress you because he knows God is watching. And this is what deen does. The deen, religion, it creates a perimeter around your life. It tells you, eat this, not that. Wear this, not that. Go here, not there. Say this, don't say that. This is what religion does. But it gives you a healthy lifestyle. I know some people say religion, I don't like it because it limits me. Well, when it limits you, it's doing you a favor. It's making your life better. It's making your life more productive. It's making you more respectable in the community. When you don't do the haram, you're going to be more liked. You're going to be a person who is more respected in your own community. So find yourself a person who's afraid of God. Find yourself a person who has that deen, that faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The person that is not willing to break the boundaries of God. Who cares about other boundaries? Maybe people are going to get upset. Maybe breaking societal norms. Who cares about societal norms? As long as you don't break the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. لا طاعة لمخلوق في معصية الخالق. Can I, in order to make other people happy, disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? No. You cannot obey anyone, even if it's your parents, whoever it is, if they're telling you to do haram, you don't do haram at the expense of disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because the person who has faith, they believe in Jahannam, they believe in Hisab, they believe in the Kitab, they believe in accountability. The person who doesn't have faith, they don't care. So this is one, someone who has faith. And second, someone who has akhlaq. Maybe this person prays Salat al-Layl every night, but if the food has too much salt in it, he's going to throw a fit in the house. He's going to start yelling and shouting and breaking things and throwing things. This is also a problem. Can you live with someone who has no akhlaq? Can you truly have a happy marriage with someone who is going to fight over everything in the house? Someone who wants to control everything in the house? You can't. This is why it's very important to have akhlaq. And this is why it's very important for us to build our akhlaq. Maybe I want my wife to have the best akhlaq, but I don't have good akhlaq. This is also a problem. This is a problem. We have to work on our akhlaq. The same way we work on our faith, we strengthen our faith. We have to work on our anger. We have to work on our kindness, on our words, whether we get triggered or not. And this is something very important. And when we look at the ahadith, we see that this is what is mentioned. And then, of course, my advice, the hadith doesn't say that, but if we look at the general summary of what the narrations say, they say focus on someone who you're compatible with. Maybe, for example, someone has very good akhlaq, and this person is a very good person, very faithful, but this person lives all the way in, for example, in Karbala. Is this person going to be good for you who's living here? In some cases it might work. I don't want to say it doesn't work. Some marriages, they've made it work very well. But the more compatibility you have, the more likely this is going to be a successful marriage, because the thought process, the thinking, the level of intellectuality, the discussions, all of these are going to be at the same level, versus you're marrying someone who has a completely different passion. He likes to watch football and she likes to sit and, do something else. So these are all very important things that you have to make sure that there is compatibility in. And in a hadith from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi, he tells the Muslims, he says, إِيَّاكُمْ وَخَضْرَاءِ الدِّمَنِ. Be very careful from khadra' ad-diman. What is khadra' ad-diman? It is the green grass that grows on the trash. There's a trash area, dump, and then you see grass growing in that area. Meaning, don't be fooled by appearances. You might look at someone, you might look at a girl or a guy, and you might see that their appearances are very appealing. But in reality, this person is trash. In reality, this person is not good, not a good suitable partner. And this is why you have to ask questions. A lot of people, they sit once, twice, and then that's it. They do the katb kitab. No, ask questions. In Islam, ghiba is haram. Backbiting is haram. But can you, if someone comes and asks me, for example, this guy came and proposed and is asking for my daughter's hand in marriage. Can I come and say, no, I don't, it's not my job to talk about this person? No. Now it becomes wajib upon me to go and tell, because now the benefit is greater. Now the risk of building a family with someone who, for example, maybe this person was not an honest person. Maybe this person was not what they appear to be. Now it becomes my duty to go and inform, because I'm protecting, because family is at risk now. It becomes my duty. So it's very important to ask questions, do some research. Don't just fall for a person right away. Look for someone who is compatible. And the hadith says, the hadith of Imam Sadiq, he says, if not for Ali ibn Abi Talib, no one would have been a compatible partner for Fatima al-Zahra alayhi salam. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. A last question, hard question that a lot of people deal with. And this is how can I commit and stick to one person? This is a very, a lot of people, they have sleepless nights. Maybe their wedding is coming up in a few days, and they're worried, is this going to be the right person? Can I stay with this person? Can I really be happy with this person? And this is what they call the paradox of choices. A lot of people, they say when it comes to marriage, oh, there's plenty of fish in the sea. Meaning, oh, there's so many people I could marry. That means I shouldn't be worried so much. And this, it creates a problem. Because you think you have a lot of options. But in reality, how many options do you really have? You look at everyone out there. Is everyone suitable for you to marry? No. Maybe either their faith, their language, their culture. There's so many things. When you come, you limit it, you bring it down, until you see there's only one or two people that are compatible with you. So this idea of, let me delay the marriage. Well, this opportunity came, it's okay, let me delay it. Another opportunity came, let me delay it. Another opportunity comes, let me delay it. Because there's so many options, eventually you're going to run out of options. Eventually, there's going to be no good options. And this is why, if the good option comes, Islam says, take that option. And Rasulullah says, the hadith we mentioned earlier, إِذَا جَاءَكُم مَّن تَرْضَوْنَ دِينَهُ وَخُلُقَهُ فَزَوِّجُوهُ. If someone comes and proposes to you, you see this person has deen and this person has akhlaq, accept this person. Then the hadith of the Prophet continues, إِن لَمْ تَفْعَلُوا تَكُنْ فِتْنَةٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ وَفَسَادٌ كَبِيرٌ. If you don't, there's going to be fitna, there's going to be fasad in the land. Why? Because this person who's good, who's worthy of marriage, got rejected. This person's going to go do the haram. And you're going to remain without a partner. So here we have to have some faith. I know it's a very difficult choice because you say, I'm afraid to commit to this person because I'm going to have to be with this person for the rest of my life. But at the end of the day, if you find someone who's God conscious, if you find someone who's a believer, who's mu'min, who has good akhlaq, then you deal with problems together. No one said life and marriage has zero problems. No one said you start off your marriage with everything being fine. You have that, white house on the hill and you're totally comfortable. No. You start small and you slowly get bigger. You have problems in life, you have challenges in life, you deal with them together. You deal with them and you grow together. You think the marriage of Imam Ali and Fatima al-Zahra did not face hurdles, did not face challenges? Not from each other. From each other, they were the strongest, the most loving. But there were those from the outside that created obstacles and turbulence in the life of Amir al-Mu'mineen and Fatima al-Zahra. Every day, Imam Ali, every few months, every few weeks, Amir al-Mu'mineen has to go and put his life on the line to defend Rasulullah and to defend the religion of Islam. Fatima al-Zahra alayhi salam, she did not have that comfortable life of a princess, the daughter of the Prophet. No. Fatima al-Zahra, Amir al-Mu'mineen, he himself, he says she used to sweep the house where her clothes became dusty. She used to light the fire under the pot. Her clothes were filled with holes. This is the daughter of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. She used to carry the water until that impacted her chest and her shoulder. And she used to grind the wheat until her hands became rough. This is Fatima, the daughter of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. You think their marriage was perfectly fine? No. Amir al-Mu'mineen, he was also tested. He also, every day was a test for them. But they survived their love and their relationship. Let me conclude with this story from the life of Amir al-Mu'mineen and Fatima alayhi salam. One day, I probably mentioned this before. One day, Amir al-Mu'mineen, he comes to the home and he sees that there's no food in the house. So he tells Fatima, oh Fatima, There's nothing? She tells him no. He tells her, why didn't you tell me so that I could bring something for you to cook, for something so that we could eat something? She tells him, when we first got married, Rasulullah tells me, he told me, oh Fatima, لا تكلفي زوجك ما لا يطيق. Don't burden your husband with something that he can't do. And then she says, I didn't tell you because I know you. When you have, you bring. Amir al-Mu'mineen is not the type of person that is going to be stingy with his family. She says, when you have, you bring. I saw that you didn't have, so I didn't want to burden you. And look at the key to this, the beautiful dynamic in that relationship where she doesn't even tell him. So then Amir al-Mu'mineen left the house at noontime. Everyone is resting at noontime. He leaves the house. He goes and he borrows 1 dirham. He borrows 1 dirham and he's going back to the market so that he could buy something. He sees Al-Miqdad, one of the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi, and a friend of Amir al-Mu'mineen. He sees Al-Miqdad. He tells him, oh Miqdad, what are you doing out in the street at this time? Al-Miqdad, he says, I left my home while my kids were crying from hunger. I came out to look for food for them. Amir al-Mu'mineen, he takes that dirham that he borrows and he gives it to Miqdad. Because he knows his family, they're not going to make a problem for him. He knows his family, وَيُطْعِمُونَ الطَّعَامَ عَلَى حُبِّهِ مِسْكِينًا وَيَتِيمًا وَأَسِيرًا. He goes back to the home and he's ready to go and tell Fatima, I was not able to find anything. He goes and the hadith says he saw Fatima al-Zahra in her mihrab. She's praying and next to her there's a dish of food. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi is standing next to Fatima. And Amir al-Mu'mineen, he tells her, oh Fatima, anna laki hadha, where is this from? And she replies, هو من عند الله إن الله يرزق من يشاء بغير حساب. She tells him this is from God. And Allah gives the rizq to whoever He wishes بغير حساب. Rasulullah looks at Amir al-Mu'mineen, he smiles and he tells him, oh Ali, Fatima is no less than Maryam. كلما دخل عليها زكريا المحراب وجد عندها رزقا قال يا مريم أنى لك هذا قالت هو من عند الله إن الله يرزق من يشاء بغير حساب. This is what happened with Zakaria and Maryam. Rasulullah tells Ali, Fatima is no less than Maryam. My dear brothers and sisters, inshallah next week, next Thursday, we will have a majlis for Fatima al-Zahra alayha salam according to the narration of the 90-day hadith of the shahada of Fatima al-Zahra alayha salam, and we ask you all to join us. May Allah bless you all and grant you all the ziyarah and the shafa'ah of Lady Fatima alayha salam. نسألك اللهم وندعوك باسمك العظيم الأعظم الأعز الأجل الأكرم يا الله يا الله يا رحمن يا رحيم يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلوبنا على دينك. اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات الأحياء منهم والأموات. تابع اللهم بيننا وبينهم بالخيرات إنك مجيب الدعوات إنك غافر الخطيئات إنك على كل شيء قدير. Oh Allah, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to send His mercy upon the souls of the mujahideen, upon the souls of the shuhada, those who they're losing their lives day after day in Palestine and Lebanon, all over the Muslim world. والفاتحة إلى أرواح العلماء والشهداء بعد الصلاة على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله.